Hello, everybody. Welcome to Revs, the first episode of Revs, the RevTech entrepreneurial variety show. In typical entrepreneurial fashion, we are starting with our first episode as a live episode. So stay tuned to see what could possibly go wrong. I am your host, Craig, at least for the very first episode. I am the co-founder and CEO of URComped. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. Let me point out Mr. RevTech on the drums, the one-man band, Dave Matthews.
That's me!
So we've got a great show tonight. We've got Daniel Vitello. He is the co-founder of Cooklist, as well as the co-host of AI Chefs, which is a TikTok series. If you haven't seen it yet, you are missing out. It is an amazing show. We also have Joe Groves, who is the owner of Ellen's. If you haven't been down to West End, Dallas, you should, because it's an amazing place. It's really, if you're coming in from out of town, is the biggest, best tourist destination in Dallas, right by the Kennedy Museum. There's a lot of stuff around here. And probably if you look in any tourist, any TripAdvisor, Ellen's is at the top of the list of things to do in the West End. We've got the owner here, Joe Groves, owner of Ellen's, as well as a new Italian restaurant concept called Andrea's. And today, everyone's heard about, the man versus machine. Maybe started with HAL in Space Odyssey 2001. Then, of course, there was Kasparov versus Deep Blue IBM. Then Watson versus Jeopardy. And today, probably the biggest competition yet, we've got the AI chefs competing against the head chef of Andrea in a risotto competition. So this is going to be an amazing, amazing show. And we have a sponsor, Fifth and Cherry. And are we going to a commercial for Fifth and Cherry? So we're gonna go to that, and we're gonna be back with our first interview.
I'm Tim Reazor, the co-founder of Fifth and Cherry, and so it might sound like an odd thing to be passionate about cutting boards, but it's not so much the cutting board that matters. The cutting board's the best in the country. It's the best that's ever been created. What I'm really passionate about is the memories that you make in the kitchen. See, the kitchen is the center of all activity. It's where you start your day. Everyone who wakes up in the morning, they're gravitating towards the kitchen. And life's everyday memories are made in the kitchen, whether you're the one cooking, whether you're learning to carve your first turkey, whether it's your grandmother teaching you how to bake. That's where life's little indelible memories are made. And then when you smell something cooking, it takes you back to a time when you were probably younger. And so we make a cutting board that is so superior because of the way it's constructed. It's the only cutting board that's still hand clamped and glued. It has steel reinforcements. But most importantly, it's the only cutting board that's refinished forever, free of charge. And so when you are cooking and you're making those memories with your loved ones, there's gonna come a time where that loved one's gonna move out, or maybe the loved one isn't with us. But when you have that cutting board and you pull it out, that's tangibility. There's no social media post you're ever gonna go back to and go, remember when mom told that joke or dad told that joke? Even if those platforms exist in 20, 25 years, but our cutting boards for the next 50 and 100, 150 years are going to be here because we refinish them forever. So when you talk about being able to be remembered forever and the joyous times in your lives, our cutting boards represent the opportunity to capture those memories and hand them down generation after generation. And that's why I'm passionate about what we do at Fifth and Cherry.
Welcome back to Revs. We have got our first guest about to come out. He, as I mentioned in the monologue, his restaurant Ellen's is a staple of the West End. We are honored to have Mr. Joe Groves here. Come on up, Joe. Yeah. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We just, Dave and I, on the drums, just ate at Ellen's on Monday. It was a fantastic meal.
Thank you.
They're like every other day.
I know.
We have payroll every Friday. That's a good thing.
What I appreciate is your homage to SNL with a staple on the menu is Joe's Balls.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite item of Joe's Balls on the
Well,
menu?
Do I personally have a favorite? Yes, the gritty balls are
I
my
like the
favorite.
gritty
Yeah,
balls as
we
well.
started with Joe's gritty balls, and there's just deep fried grits. It says just deep fried grits, but it's really quite complicated to do that well, honestly. And I'm not a chef, so I can't really give you the details. But it was cheese grits with jalapenos and bacon, and they're deep fried, and they're balls, and they're dipping sauce, and they're fantastic. But I thought, well, if we're going to be that salacious and naughty, let's go really big. And so I was trying to figure out other balls that we could do. So we have Joe's blue balls, which is
Oh,
the
yeah,
obvious one,
painful.
which are great. And we have Joe's crabby balls, which we've all experienced at some point. And then we have Joe's cheesy balls, which is just a hygiene issue as far as I'm concerned.
I like those balls combo.
Well, if you can't decide, you can always rack Joe's balls, and that's been a common thing over the years
And
as
that's
well.
a sampler of
That's a sampler, yeah.
Joe's balls.
Yeah.
Now, so before we got, we had so many balls on the menu, there you had to start the restaurant. And
Yeah.
so tell us about that. Because you weren't always in the restaurant business,
No,
right?
this is our first restaurant. I've always been an entrepreneur. I'm a really lousy employee, and I've only been an employee of a company once before that wasn't my own company, and I didn't do it well, and they fired me. So I started when I was 23 with my first business with my brother, and 15 years later we sold that, and I kind of dabbled around in other investments and things. And then in 2012 I met my partner Andrew Chuljan, who's here in the audience.
Andrew?
And it was a match made in heaven. He and our third partner, Russell Mertz, who's our executive chef, we said, let's build this little diner and see what happens. And we're about to open our 9th restaurant this year. So
Wow.
things are going well.
Now, restaurant is like the ultimate testing ground for an entrepreneur. I do
Yeah.
not want to get in that business
Yeah.
because there's so much
Don't.
competition.
Don't.
You've got inventory that expires. I mean, there's so many moving parts.
Well,
How-
the answer, it's really, the restaurants are the answer to the question, how can I lose as much money as possible as quickly as possible? And restaurants are always the answer to that question.
Well, now obviously you can't lose money too much and continue to go from 1 to 9. So what's been your kind of secret to success with your restaurant?
Well, our restaurant downtown has been successful from the beginning, and we're fortunate that we're doing it well. Right now, because of COVID and some of the other situations with the economy, there's opportunity that didn't exist just a couple of years ago, including real estate inventory and deals to be made, and unfortunately other restaurants having had to close their doors. So there's excess inventory in the real estate market, and we're in a position, thankfully and very fortunately, that we can take advantage of some of those opportunities. So we're taking the time to do it right, and so that once this all lifts, and it will, we're positioned to really be in a strong place.
Now, were you embracing takeout? I mean, I assume that that's how you survived a lot of these tough times, or maybe not. But
Well, takeout has always been part of our business, but especially at the beginning of COVID, it was all of our business for the first 14 or 15 weeks after the main shutdown. But now it was about 6% before, and it's about 15% now. So that it's still really strong. But now that people are back in the restaurants, we're maintaining a strict 50% rule, even when it went to 75 for a short time, we stayed at 50%. But our sales are 90% of what they were before COVID. And that's because people are spending more when they come in. They're willing to wait for a table because they're few and far between. And people, I think, want to go out and spend, and they're happy to contribute.
absolutely. I mean, everybody gets cravings for Joe's balls, and there's only one place they can get them, and that's at Ellen's. But you've got
Two
a
places,
new.
but yes.
Oh, are there 2 Ellen's?
Oh,
no,
yeah,
okay,
that's
I'm
it,
sorry.
that's it,
Oh,
yeah.
all right, I get it. Okay, let's move on to your newest venture, Andreas.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, we wanted to expand the portfolio beyond just Ellen's, which is a great concept, obviously. We hope that people enjoy it. But there's other things that we want to do as well. We want one day to open a fine steakhouse, and we have a bar that we're opening up soon that we're excited about, a saloon. And we found a location in Frisco that was a former Italian restaurant. We've always talked about doing a fine dining Italian restaurant, a very European style Italian, not an American style Italian restaurant. And I've traveled to Italy, and a lot of people have, and you know there's a big difference about how Americans eat Italian food and how Italians eat Italian food. And I prefer the Italian way of eating Italian food. And we've partnered with our executive chef for Andrea, Blake Nolan, who's great. He's young, he's much better looking than I, and he can cook a little better than I can. And I think we have a superstar and a great restaurant ready to open, hopefully in the next month or so.
Now, Blake Nolan is under an enormous amount of stress. He's going against the AI chefs.
Yeah.
What's his mindset going into this risotto competition where he is literally fighting for humanity?
He's intrepid. He is absolutely intrepid. I've had to hold him back. We put a bridle on him and some reins because he was rolling.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we let's cut to the video where we can see Chef Blake. Hopefully, I mean, I can imagine, you said he's in the zone, right? There's not just sweat. We're not going to see him just panicking.
Yeah.
All right, so he's
and
in the
girls,
zone.
if you want his autograph, just send Dave a note and we'll see if we can get a picture.
All right, let's roll it.
Hey guys, my name is Blake Nolan with Ristorante Andrea. Today we'll be making a lobster and langoustine risotto. So we're going to start off with 3 stalks of celery. We're going to use these for our lobster stock. The lobster stock is super important because that is the base of the whole dish. It's one of those things, I guess, if you have like a good solid knowledge of like basic cooking skills, it can be something that's really easy. Yeah, you can do it well very simply, but you can also screw it up just as fast. If you don't love on it, the food won't love you back. Langoustine, it's essentially a Norwegian lobster. The Lamborghini of crustaceans, a very good, delicate flavor. Robots don't have a soul, man. When you cook with soul. Being able to put the love into the food, like I said, I mean, a robot can't replicate that. Sorry, my friend, cooking is not always pretty. So we're gonna put all of our pieces in here, all of our tails and claws. We're gonna let those go for about 90 seconds. 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Now we're gonna start on our lobster stock. So we're gonna get a nice, about a 6-quart pot. We're gonna get that over medium, high heat. All right, so we're gonna let this just go for like a minute. So now we're gonna add about 2 ounces of tomato paste in here. A little bit extra for the homies. Bada bing, bada boom. Now we're going to add in our black peppercorns. I got thyme, bay leaf, and parsley stem in here. And 3 quarts of water. All right, so our lobster stock is done and smells absolutely wonderful. So now I'm going to blend the out of it. A couple tablespoons of butter into the pot, as well as a little bit of oil. The oil is going to help so that the butter doesn't burn. I'm gonna add my carnaroli rice. All right. Then we're gonna add our onion and garlic in there. If you listen closely, you can hear a little bit of popping, cracking going on, and that is what you wanna hear. My white wine. Let's absorb the wine. So now I'm going to start gradually adding my stock. Here's my cheese. And the cheese I'm using is a very nice 2-year age Parmigiano Reggiano. You're gonna gradually add the butter in and try and maintain about 150 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So for right now, I'm going to add our lobster into the Bermonte. So we're gonna cook it very, very gently. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice little sheen from the butter, just perfectly cooked. The lobster and langoustine risotto. Enjoy.
All right, thank you.
Oh, and we're back, guys.
All right, we are back. Our next guest is Daniel Vitello, the co-founder of Cooklist, as well as co-host of the AI Chefs on TikTok. Daniel. It's hard to believe that all that music's coming from one man.
It's
Dave
incredible.
Matthews. Great work, sir. Daniel, tell us about Cooklist.
Yeah, so Cooklist is an app we've been working on for a while now that is kind of your full end-to-end groceries. So it does meal plans, you can do your grocery shopping, keep track of your pantry, so everything that you have in your house, and then we turn what's in your pantry into recipes, so you can always get inspiration for something new to cook with all the groceries you already have.
It sounds amazing. So we've got somebody on the URComped team, Tyler, if you're watching. Hi, Tyler. When he's on his own, all he lives off of is pizza rolls.
Yep.
That's like as much as he can handle. And so this is something that can help people expand that. It gives new ideas for cook. Like what are some ways that people use Cooklist?
Yeah, so you have 50, maybe 100 things in your kitchen, but then trying to do the math of like what spices are going to go well together, or how can I combine something to make a sauce? It's really hard. One thing that we first experienced when we started Cooklist was we had grapes in our pantry and Brussels sprouts, or grapes in the fridge. Never had thought to bake grapes before, but it suggested this recipe of a side dish with Brussels sprouts and baked grapes. It sounds weird. It ended up being delicious, and it was just one of those moments where it's like I wouldn't have had the creativity to do that, but with the software we were able to.
So was that the inspiration for Cooklist, or maybe you could walk us through like how did Cooklist become Cooklist?
Yeah, so it really happened out of just being a nerd for data and wanting to get the data from our loyalty cards. And then we thought we could do something useful with it. And so we started just talking with a lot of people and trying to find out what would be the most interesting or useful thing we could do with all of the grocery loyalty card data. And then what people really wanted was this pantry for being able to get expiration notifications. So like if you have that bag of salad in the bottom of your fridge, you forget about it, you come back a week later and then it's spoiled. With Cooklist, since we know when you bought it, it ties in with the grocery loyalty card system. It'll send you a push notification when it's getting close to expiring, and then give you a recommendation for a recipe to cook with it.
That is genius. I need to get my mom on there. I know she's watching. She's tried to kill me about 3 times with spoiled Parmesan cheese. So,
Yep.
Mom, you're downloading Cooklist. So Cooklist transitioned, or I shouldn't say transitioned, you guys spun out kind of a new concept out of Cooklist AI Chefs. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so with Cooklist, we've aggregated millions of recipes from all over the internet. And what kind of another just side interest has always been artificial intelligence and seeing it progress over the years. And I've started to see these text models, which, recipe is just a very structured form of text or natural language. And the models were getting so good, became curious, and I was wondering if I took all the million recipes we have on Cooklist and trained a neural network to generate text in the format of recipes, would it work? And so during the summer, kind of just experimented with that and actually started getting pretty good results. And so then we partnered with the studio guys, and we were like, we should actually cook some of these recipes, because it's hard to tell when you just look at it on paper, right? It can look plausible. You don't know how it's really going to taste until you actually cook it. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, over the last few months, we've started cooking the recipes that the AI has been generating. And then the AI itself has gotten better as we've made the model bigger.
So tell us about the shirt, because it's a cool shirt.
So this is our logo for AI Chefs. It's got a hat that's similar to the chef's hat on the Cooklist logo. And then cool is kind of just a meme that happened with TikTok. We had this one video that went viral, and the first 3 people commented just cool. And then it kind of started this cool chain. And so I think it ended up with, there was like 23,000 cool comments of just people commenting one word cool on the video. That it just blew up and went crazy on TikTok.
Cool.
Dude, these guys have had over 1 million views. So
Wow.
Yeah, people love AI recipes, and so that's why we're pretty confident headed into the competition today that the AI is gonna shine.
Well, it sounds like it's all been fun and games, but now, obviously, this is the biggest test of the AI chefs. I don't know if you call AI like their life, but since the creation of AI, is this your first competition?
It is.
Okay. So how does this work? So you've got this AI chef, it's been trained with all the things you described. You guys you're watching it, you can go back and get all these concepts, neural networks and all that. So risotto is the battleground.
Yep.
How do you how do you do that? You got risotto. How do you train the AI chef to come up with a recipe for risotto?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you can think of it as autocomplete on your phone, where it's just it looks at what the current text is and then is generating word by word the most probable next like 3 characters at a time. So imagine if you just pushed the first button on your iPhone, autocomplete over and over and over and over again. That's essentially what we're doing, but it's a lot smarter than the autocomplete on your phone. And so the way that we get it to make a risotto recipe is we show it about 3 or 4 examples. So we'll give it, like existing recipes. And then with that, it's able to figure out the kind of format of what we're looking for. And then it'll just spit out hundreds or thousands of iterations that it comes up with based on kind of the prompt.
It sounds like the premise for Terminator 6 when the AI chef takes us over. So why don't we cut to the video? We actually have the AI chefs. You guys you're talking a little bit about the recipe, and then you guys actually cooking it. You don't have the robot yet that's grabbing.
No, that's the V2.
V2. Okay, that's Terminator 6. It's the start of Terminator 6. Okay, why don't we cut to the video of the AI chefs preparing their risotto?
Sounds good. All right, guys, we're here in the kitchen with my co-founder, Brandon.
Howdy.
And we have a crazy recipe that the AI came up with. It's called the peanut butter and jelly risotto.
Yeah, this is really interesting. I don't think either of us are pros at cooking risotto at all, but the point here is that the AI came up with the recipe and we're going to follow its instructions word by word and see how this comes out.
So we've got all the ingredients here and let's get cooking.
So this is definitely not your typical risotto recipe. And if I had to guess, there are no peanut butter risotto recipes out there at all. So this is probably a first of its kind.
We've got peanut butter, we've got jelly, but then I like that it added the fruit. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I think it's a cool touch. The grapes could be kind of weird, but it definitely looks more visually appealing.
It smells good. It's got this cool like jelly pink hue. I'm really excited to taste it.
When it was writing the recipe, it comes up with the title and then the full list of ingredients with the specific quantities. And the quantities that it came up with make sense. We think it could have used a little bit more liquid. Was there anything that it messed up on here?
I think where it falls short is, I think typically in a risotto recipe you would gradually add the liquid over time, whereas the AI instructed us to add all of the water at once. But that said, it did tell us we could add in cream at the end to our discretion, so that actually helped enable us to add a little bit of cream, to add a little bit more liquid at the end to get the risotto cooked to the consistency that a risotto would normally be.
One thing that was interesting to me was when it said to add the wine, it said to let it cook while you're stirring until it's evaporated. So it's understanding that there's alcohol in wine, where then the next step, when we add the water, it's saying keep cooking until it's all absorbed. And so there's these subtle changes where you can understand that the AI does have this deep understanding of the context of kind of how these ingredients are going together.
When I make a PB&J, I usually do strawberry jelly and creamy peanut butter. How about you?
Yeah, I'm also a fan of strawberry jelly. I like the crunchy peanut butter though, and here the AI didn't specify crunchy or creamy, so it's up to your personal preference. I think that we're definitely going to be the more creative risotto recipe in this competition.
Whether or not the judges take that into account with their ratings, we will see. Looks about done, huh?
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good.
All right, let's give it a shot. I'm excited to try it out.
But let's see how it tastes.
Definitely can taste the peanut butter jelly.
Solid peanut butter base, jelly's on top. It's a good balance, I think.
Like you said, the strawberries completely disappeared. The grapes give a little bit nice of a visual touch. I don't really taste them, but I think the fruit probably added to the sweetness, which is nice.
But it is chewy. Chewy peanut butter jelly.
It's peanut butter jelly risotto.
We're for sure gonna win creativity points. We're gonna bank on bringing the judges back to their childhood. I think they're gonna be blown away by the artificial intelligence risotto.
And we're back. All right, now is the moment of truth. This is the competition. So why don't I introduce our judges? We have Timothy Reazor of Fifth and Cherry.
Nice to meet you.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, and I just want to say that nobody knows which dish was prepared by the AI chefs versus the human. So as much as maybe we're rooting for humanity to succeed, we don't know which one is which. All All right, and then we have Chad King of 311 Kitchen and Cocktails, another staple of the West End. If you guys come to RevTech, you got to come visit. It's just downstairs. I know the URComped team has eaten there many times, drank there many more times. So awesome place. And then I just got word Gordon Ramsay canceled. And so I'm going to have to fill in.
That's why.
I'm going to have to fill in. Yeah, that's why I'm here. So we've got some food to try.
Okay.
All right, so why don't you start, Tanya?
I start? Okay.
Yeah, so we've got, I'm not sure, can we see it? Do we need to hold up the dish? Or is there a camera overhead that I don't know about? All right.
If you'd like to.
Okay. Go. And which one it looks like that's a lobster on top.
It's really good. It's like almost tomatoey.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more of a reddish tomato. Looks Italian.
And this one has strawberries on it. It's sweet.
Okay.
Not what I expect from a risotto.
Does either one taste more like a computer?
I've never tasted a computer, so I can't say for sure. They're both good.
Okay, so we've got two I guess areas we're grading on. There's creativity and taste. So would you award, let's say the creativity award, which one would you give it to?
From a creative standpoint, I guess the one with the strawberries, just because it's not something I would expect, and it didn't taste bad.
Okay.
So, I mean, it worked from that regard, but from my perspective, it was too sweet.
Okay.
I preferred the one with the lobster.
So creativity is the one that didn't taste bad, which is
Right.
not necessarily high praise, but I'm hoping that's the robot. All right, and then you said the one with the lobster tasted great.
I thought it tasted great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Tanya. Let's get a round of applause for Tanya. All right, Chad King.
Thank you. I haven't eaten all day because of this.
Ah, they're both going to taste great then.
That's really, really good. The risotto's cooked perfect. But you definitely don't want it to be mushy. That's really good. I'd order that.
Good sign. Good sign. So moved on to the strawberry and beans, I believe. Well, after this, we'll get what the ingredients are.
It tastes like, yeah, it's sweet. It almost tastes like a risotto version of a peanut butter and jelly,
Oh, wow.
which is interesting. It's kind of like a crepe, how you'll have savory and then sweet. I don't think one is worse than the other. They both surprise me. But if I were to order one, if I had to choose, I would choose the lobster. That's my choice.
Thank you, Chad. So, all right, so we got taste goes to the lobster, creativity.
Creativity. I would have to do creativity with the. It tastes like there's jelly in there, which is different because you don't expect that. And but the taste is going to go to the lobster. The creativity is going to go to the strawberry with jelly on it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Chad. So if every vote count is 1, the decision would already be decided. But I don't know if everyone knows, my vote counts as 3. So this is still coming down to the wire. And I should say, Tanya, from Fifth and Cherry.
Yes.
Fifth and Cherry. Google it. Fifth and Cherry cutting board. Is that the best way to find it?
Yeah, fifhandcherry.com.
Fifhandcherry.com. And then Chad from 311.
311, we are right next to where JFK got shot.
That's right. Best. Well, I
Won't
should
forget that.
I should never follow that with best anything. It's a great tourist spot, West End. You guys got to come down here. All right, here we go. I'm gonna switch things up. I'm gonna start with the peanut butter and jelly. What is that? I mean, I think that's great. And then strawberry. Yeah, I like it. It would be like as a dessert risotto.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. I like it as a dessert risotto. Let me clean the palate real quick, because I wouldn't want to not do this one justice. So here we go, moving on to the lobster risotto. Smells really good, like lobster. All right. You know, I'm going to follow the other judges who are much more qualified than I am, and I'm going to say that this one for creativity, I think 1. This one for flavor that I would order. Both tasted good. I think this one I'd be like, yes. I remember the words you described it were, it's not bad, right? But if you're paying money, you want something pop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, great job by both. If you were to guess which one AI, which one human?
Based on presentation and flavor, I would say this one is the lobster is done by human, and I would say that the strawberry jelly peanut butter, which is it's still great. It's very creative. It's almost like a state fair type of risotto.
Yeah.
I would say that was synthetic, if you will, but they're still very great in their own. You can't diss either one of them. I think that if I had to choose, though, I would choose the lobster. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm with you. Honestly, if I had a dinner where this was the entree and this was dessert,
Right.
it would be a great meal.
It would be great, absolutely.
It'd be a great meal. So why don't we, I'm trying to remember what the next, how do we wrap, we award the prize. So now, why don't we award the flavor prize to, should we flip a coin? Or do we, because obviously we got 2 awards. We have the creativity with the PBJ risotto. We've got the flavor with this one. So I think we need to flip a coin, but none of us have a coin. So I'm going to pick a number between 1 and 5, okay? And you represent peanut butter and jelly. You represent lobster risotto, okay? I'm picking a number. Okay, go.
2.
I missed the instructions.
What do you think?
5.
Correct number was 4. You won,
Okay.
which was the lobster risotto. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, good job. Well done. So we have an amazing Fifth and Cherry cutting board that you guys already saw in the video. If you didn't, go back, check out fifthandcherry.com. And so congratulations to the winners. All right, let's go do a musical interlude with David.
All right, great. Here's the deal, man. It sounds like a pretty tight race between the machine and the man for the cook. But what we want to do for everybody that endured this first episode, everybody in the studio audience live and everybody on the live stream gets a 3-month free subscription to Cooklist and dinner for 2 at the new Andrea restaurant. So how about that, Craig? How about that? Thank you for bearing with us through our first episode, and there's a winner for everyone.
A winner for everybody, and that's everybody in the live studio audience. Is that everybody?
Everybody live and on the live stream. So what do they have to do, Craig?
All right, so if you are watching live right now, put in the comments your favorite part of the show, and then you got to email david@revtechventures.com. Is that right? david@revtechventures.com. So put in the comments right now, let us know that you're watching live. We're going to go back, And then email David at revtechventures.com. Put in the comments your favorite part of the show. That way, if they're gracious enough to not fire me before the next one, we'll be even better next time. So again, put in the comments your favorite part of the show. Email David at revtechventures.com. And I think that is it. It was a great first episode, I think. I had a great time. Did everybody else have a good time? All right, well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month. All right, good job.
We were the peanut butter and jelly.
You were, it really did taste very good. I like that. Oh.
That was a monster.
Oh, okay. Oh, I should say Andrea won. We were speculating. I think all the evidence was pointing towards Andrea. But the human, hey, Blake, congratulations. That was delicious. We loved it. That was fun.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that was really good. Do we have a to-go box? I want to take.
Got a little bit more back there in the box, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.